going to read to you an extract from a story called Never Cross the Bridge After Midnight. It's a story about a boy called Darren who moves with his family to the little town of Hay-on-Wye, which, as you might know, is famous for its bookshops. On the very day Darren arrives, he goes into one of the bookshops on his own and meets a peculiar little man. Dressed in grey, he is no bigger than a 10-year-old and as dusty as the books. And this little man gives Darren a warning. He raised a finger, thin as a stick. Never cross the bridge after midnight, not on the night of a new moon. Why? You don't need to know that. Just stay away. So, of course, Darren is madly curious to know what is so dangerous about Hay Bridge. And on the night of the new moon, off he goes to explore. The night of the new moon arrived. Darren waited till everyone was asleep, then climbed out of bed and pulled on his clothes. He slipped his torch into his pocket and crept downstairs in his socks, carrying his trainers quietly, one step at a time. He put his trainers on in the kitchen, opened the back door and slipped into the garden like a cat. Such a dark night. A new moon means no moon at all, so he was glad he had the torch. He went down the alley behind his house, along the high street, then turned left onto the bridge road. There was no one around. No people, no cars, nothing. He looked at his watch. 2:15. The bridge was coming closer. It looked safe. It was wide and straight and empty. So why was his heart hammering in his chest? Just before the bridge, Darren turned off the torch. There was nothing now except a thick, inky blackness. He took a deep breath for courage and walked onto the bridge, keeping to the middle of the road. Darren was on full alert. Any sound, any movement, he'd pick it up. He was sure of that. But he reached the far side of the bridge without anything happening. Huh? He was relieved to get there, but also disappointed. Had his courage been for nothing? That man was a trickster, he muttered. There's nothing here. He turned for home. The night was still dark, but he had no fear now. This time he walked on the pavement so he could look over the bridge. And he had only gone a little way when he heard a noise, a small splash, like something had fallen in below. He turned on his torch, leaned over the bridge side and shone it down onto the riverbank below. Maybe it was the swans. Hurrah! An enormous hand appeared from nowhere, grabbed Darren by the scruff of the neck and hauled him off the bridge. He landed with a thump on the riverbank, the breath knocked clean out of his body. He gasped, coughed, turned around. And if you want to know what happens next, well, you will just have to read the book.